Hello and welcome to Three to Thrive. My name is Jesus Avalos and I'll be your host for this episode. And we are at the beautiful Arabian Horse Center. We've got some of our colts and our fillies in the background here. And we're really excited to be here. And we're talking about procrastination. So, if you struggle with procrastination, then you're like myself. I do too. And as a matter of fact, there are a lot of people, very accomplished and famous people throughout history, who've also struggled with procrastination. One that comes to mind is Leonardo da Vinci. I don't know if you knew, I didn't, that it took him 16 years to paint the Mona Lisa. And it's actually one of the few paintings that he completed in his lifetime. So if you struggle with procrastination, you're not alone, but you're also in luck because we've got some tips to help you overcome that. And the tips are based on three common types of procrastinators. Those are perfectionist procrastinators, pressure procrastinators, and pain procrastinators. And we'll talk about them each in turn. And we'll start off with the perfectionist procrastinators. And those are the people that want everything to be just lined up so, and they don't want to make any mistakes before they start. And as a result, they never get started. So if you struggle with that, realize that it's a mindset and we need to address it with a mindset shift, or what we call a paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift is to something that we call practical perfectionism. And practical perfectionism is doing the best that you can as soon as you can with what you have. And the goal with practical perfectionism is really all about momentum and starting small. So what you can do to help you with that practical perfectionism is break up your project into smaller bite-sized chunks, maybe even 5 or 10 minutes long, and just get started. Oftentimes when you get started, you get unstuck. And then when you get unstuck, it's easier to keep going. So break it into small chunks, focus on the first, and then get started. The mantra with practical perfectionism is progress, not perfection. So that's good for practical perfectionists. Let's talk now about pressure procrastinators. Pressure procrastinators always tell me, oh, you know what, I work better under pressure and I get juiced when it's last minute. The problem with that, though, is that if you wait until the last minute, then you've got no margin for error. And then if things don't go exactly your way, then you're really stressed out. You're writing that paper at 3 in the morning, let's say. So what we can do to help address that is use a law called Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law says that you will either expand or contract the scope of your work to fit the available time. So let's say, for argument's sake, that you have a paper to write, it takes about a day, but you have 2 weeks to write it. So you will stretch out that work to fit that 2-week time frame. Now, conversely, if you only have 3 hours to write that paper that normally takes a day, you will condense your work, cut out the extraneous things, and you will get that paper done in 3 hours. So use Parkinson's law to your advantage and use what we call intentional deadlines. And intentional deadlines are deadlines that you create that allow you to still use that pressure, create that artificial pressure, but at the same time gives you some wiggle room if things don't go exactly your way. If you get sick or you get a flat tire, you've still got that extra time frame. And by doing that, you're able to juice yourself, you're able to move forward, but you don't have that pressure, that kind of scary pressure that can come up if you're right at the deadline. In addition, reward yourself. Create some kind of compelling reward, whether it be a dinner out, maybe watching a movie, something that really incentivizes you to move forward. The last type of procrastinator is what we call a pain procrastinator. And for those, I would suggest clarity as the key. And what I mean by clarity is really get clear about what your pain is. So if you're putting off cleaning out your garage, what is it that's holding you back? Get clear about that. And if you do, oftentimes you're going to find that it's not as bad as you thought it was. So sometimes clarity can be curative. In addition, get clear about what your benefit is. So if you want to clean out your garage, what will that look like? How will you feel? Get really clear on that. And oftentimes that kind of clarity, again, moves you forward. A great question to ask yourself is, what's the worst that can happen? And if you ask yourself that, oftentimes the answer is really not that bad. And you can unstick yourself. And again, once you unstick yourself, you can move forward. So those are 3 tips. Hopefully they'll be useful to you, whether you're a pressure, a perfectionist, or a pain procrastinator, or like me, a combination of the 3. Hopefully these will help you move forward and break on through. So thank you again for joining us. We really value your feedback. So if you have any thoughts or suggestions, you can reach out to me at jfavalos@cpp.edu. Otherwise, we look forward to having you join us for the next episode of 3 to Thrive. A big thanks to John Lambert and the staff here at the Arabian Horse Center for making us feel so welcome. We look forward to having you join us next time. Until then, keep growing, keep developing, and keep learning. Take care.